What is up? My name is Cooper Neal, and that is Jared Bennett, and we love drafts. And following a very successful Oscars win for Jarrett, minding the numerous tornado warning, breaking up his Oscars watch, probably was in hindsight is probably beneficial for you. There was a lot of long-winded things that went on in the Oscars before you got on. But yeah, how you feeling following your first Oscars win and March Madness is starting, which is what we're here
You
for
know,
today.
I feel great after the Oscars win. Obviously, I spent all night editing my own congratulatory video for it, a highlight package. Yeah, and
The
now,
highlight package of the one movie that you picked that won.
yeah, that got me all my points. Yeah, that one. And now we're into the most wonderful time of the year, March Madness.
We are.
This is me. This and the NBA draft time are my two biggest events of the year because nothing I follow closer than college basketball and the NBA draft. This is an interesting tournament. It doesn't feel like last year where it's like, it's a 4-team tournament. Here's who it's going to be at the end. Take your pick. I got probably 7 or 8 teams I think could really make a deep run. If I really expand that out of like, I could see this team making a run to the Final Four, 16 to 20 teams. Like there's a lot of strong, like lower tier teams that could, I feel like, make a run. So I don't feel like I have a clue this year, know as much as I've watched.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's definitely a year where you can definitely see who the teams that probably should be there, but there's a lot that could go wrong, and there's probably a lot that will go wrong because that's the beauty of March. But before we get too far into
Let's
this,
introduce our
we
guest,
do
which
have a
I
guest
did kind
today.
of ignore. Joining us today is my brother Brett, who has been locked in to the Missouri Valley and Ohio valleys of the world for the last week in the Atlantic Sun. Brett, how are you doing?
It's way more fun watching the crappy conference tournaments, the single bid leagues, than like nobody cares about the Big Ten and the SEC tournament. Like, and I guess
Suck
you
it,
had your Ole
Arkansas.
Miss making a little bit of a run. I guess you had Ole Miss making a little bit of a run in
Hey,
the tournament with looking to steal a bid, but it wasn't like the intrigue is those leagues where you're playing for a single bid. Where else are you going to see guys who very clearly are the definition of going pro in something other than sports, competing just to play in the NCAA tournament?
that's
You
so
got
fair.
you got a lot of guys out there who look like probably the guy you're going to see at the Y in about 3 years. So just a lot of fun. You have stuff like teams missing dunks that would have tied the game and sent it to overtime with a
Shout out
chance to make their
Utah
first
Valley.
tournament appearance.
Yeah, shout
Utah
out that
Valley,
Sam
one of
Houston
the 3
State
cursed
Kennesaw
teams
State
of
game.
conference tournaments, along with Towson and Toledo.
Yeah. No, you can ask Jarrett. I had no expectation for Ole Miss whatsoever. I gave up on Ole Miss back in like December after we lost to Utah. So when Wednesday came around, I literally told Leah, I was like, I'm just excited that today's the last day I'm going to have to watch my team lace their shoes. And then they decided that
They
they
just
wanted
kept
to play
winning.
basketball for the first time.
They were begging to get you to
They
believe in
almost
them
did it.
again. They were almost there. I think if they won, they beat
They
Arkansas.
never
You would
did.
have been
Unfortunately, they
all
ran
on board
into
again. Like, this is
Arkansas.
the team. We're gonna make a run this year. And then it was
If
I was
they
kind of hoping Ole Miss was going to make it, be like a 13 or 14 seed, and then just get absolutely demolished by like the 3 or 4 seed they
yeah,
play.
they runs like an Illinois.
I didn't even want Jarrett to think I was believing, so I never even posed the question of like, if Ole Miss wins this, what seed are they? I never even got to that point in my
13 or
watch
14,
time with Ole Miss.
honestly. I remember you said when they lost to Utah, you're like, well, they're a Big 12 school. And I was like, yeah,
They're
no.
horrible.
Yeah, that's a rough loss. That's a rough loss.
Utah's really
Baylor,
bad. And
I
Utah
think Baylor beat you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Utah, I think, finished 2-16
Baylor's
in the Big
terrible,
12.
and we beat Utah by I think 30.
Utah's a horrible team.
Yeah. No, the Utah game was also just coming off of a rough loss to Bennett Sturts. And then the next day you're like, oh, they're going to come out fiery because they just lost their first game of the year to Utah, who they should beat. And then they
No, in fact, they crumbled.
Boat race in the first half.
Yeah, they crumbled, and that carried on for the rest of the season.
But I don't have to watch them anymore.
The way this is going to work, the way we're going to break down this March Madness, we're going to go game by game. We are going to break down who we think are to win, some players from each team to keep an eye on, thoughts on those teams. We're going to kind of make our picks for the bracket as we go, loosely. We're not going to be filling out a physical bracket right now. After each regional, we will be doing a little draft of sorts, as is customary of this show. We'll be drafting underdogs, teams seeded 9 through 16. You will get points for who they beat, essentially. So if you beat a 1 seed, that's 16 points. If you beat a 2 seed, that's 15 points, and so on and so forth. So a lot of value to be had in the lower seeds that you like so far. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first matchup, we got Duke versus Siena.
Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Duke here. Although, it should be noted, I do have some. Siena has a 500 record in first round games in the NCAA tournament and a history of pulling major upsets.
They do.
So
let me
However,
also.
I don't believe in them at all in this situation.
Let me talk quick about a couple of these teams real quick. Duke, obviously, we got to be looking at Cam Boozer. He's the best player in the country. But Patrick Ngongba, Isaiah Evans, Caden Boozer, and Dame Sarr are all draft prospects. I think some might stay, but they have the number 2 offense in the country and the number 3 defense. They're awesome. They defend really well. They rebound. They pass the ball. They defend the 3-point line. Teams don't hit threes on them, and they don't put teams on the free throw line. That is going to be huge for them not getting upset in this tournament, is they don't give up threes. They don't give up free throws. They play a slow pace. That could be a little dangerous. They are missing Caleb Foster, their point guard. We thought that was going to be a big factor, but with Caden Boozer playing really well in the ACC championship game, slightly kind of assuages your fears a little bit.
Yeah, he played all 40 minutes if I remember correctly.
That ACC championship game was just 40 minutes of just high quality basketball.
Really Duke's a very, very good team. I think they're the best team in this tournament, full stop. And that's
and I also think they had the best player in this tournament. Like, if you look at college basketball as a whole this entire year, the best player pretty much the entire season has been Cam Boozer. And at the end of the day, I think this tournament, while yes, you have to play really well as a team, having the best player almost night in, night out on the court also helps go a long way in this tournament. So I don't think the point guard woes probably won't hurt them until at least the Sweet 16.
I don't think it will.
They did get unlucky that their region got a lot of teams that are strong, at least historically, plus a couple teams that are very hot entering March.
Yeah, St. John's being on their top half of the regional is a little scary, I think. Kansas as well. Obviously, you got Michigan State and UConn as well in there. Like, that's a tough regional.
Yeah, this is the all coach regional. It's
also the all blue. It's all the all blue bloods. I think there's there is so many championships in this regional.
Yeah. This is the all coach regional, because I think John Shire, people crap on John Shire a lot, and I think it's completely unfair. I think he's
Man's only lost like 6 games.
Exactly. He's lost like 2 ACC games the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
or like 3, 4, something like that.
Like, I get he hasn't won a championship yet. He has not been there long. They have consistently been a top 10 team. They will make a run in this tournament to at least the Sweet 16. I just, like, things can go so badly. I know you're a blue blood and, like, there's expectations, but things can go so badly even if you're a blue blood. Look at what happened to North Carolina. North Carolina's not the powerhouse it once was.
Correct.
Look at UConn a few years ago before they got Danny Hurley. Was barely hanging on.
Speaking of teams in this region, look at Louisville, who has not won a first round game in almost a decade.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Kentucky right now without Calipari, who I didn't think highly of anyway. We'll get to them as probably they might have a consensus upset pick there.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think Duke is a team to look out for in this. And I mean, obviously the number 1 overall seed. You should be looking out for them. But
correct. Yeah.
They're very, very good. They're there for a reason. Siena, all right.
Congrats.
Guy to look out.
Congrats on making the tournament.
Job, Siena.
Here's your reward. You get to play Duke.
You get to play Duke. They have a good defense. They have 61st ranked defense in the country. They have Gavin Doty, who's a sophomore, averaging 18 points a game for them. He'll probably be transferring off to a big school, especially with a good performance in this game.
Yeah.
They're also missing Tasman Goodrick and Antonio Chandler, which most people that means nothing to. That's 2 of their guys out for the season. I think Chandler might come back if I remember right. But yeah, I'll take an injured Duke team over an injured Siena team. Yeah, they don't foul, which is good for them. They also don't take threes, which is also good for them because Duke defends the 3-point line really well. And they play a super slow pace, which will help them potentially pull off something. The algorithm I got for this has Duke by about 30 to 40 points.
I think that's about right. There's 16 seeds where, like, going in, admittedly, I will say the Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue upset, I would have not
it'd been same deal where you're like
a million years. But then again, Purdue I felt like was ripe to get upset. I just didn't think it would happen that early in that tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
Duke doesn't feel like the kind of 1 seed who is in any danger
I've watched them
of
get
that.
pushed by teams that were like came out of the gates hot this year, and this is because Cameron Boozer is the smartest player in the country, and he makes the right decisions so quickly. Those leads his team is always in the game because of that, and they will go on big runs because he's just almost unstoppable. If you're going to commit a
Yeah.
lot to him to stopping him, he's going to find the open shooters.
Yeah. And Isaiah Evans has been rolling recently.
Yeah. So they flip games and they stay in games. They were down against Lipscomb for like most of the first half when they played them, and then it just slowly started just matriculating, and they're up at half, and then they win by 30.
Yeah. They play like an old veteran team versus like tanking
Yeah.
teams that all of a sudden come out really strong, and then by the fourth quarter they're like, all
Yeah.
right.
Which is crazy for as young a team as there. Let's move off to our next matchup. We got Ohio State versus TCU. Ohio State has, to me, an All-American and Bruce Thornton, John Mobley Jr., Amari Bynum, also interesting players. 35th in offensive efficiency, 216th in defensive efficiency. Yikes!
Heck yeah.
Not a load of defense.
They also play.
But also shout out to Bruce Thornton for being a 4-year player at the same school.
Yeah, shout out Bruce Thornton. I think he's great. TCU. 141st in offensive efficiency, 68th in defensive. They're also not great. Yeah. Ohio State plays a lot of ISO ball.
Lose.
Yeah, I'm picking Ohio State to win this game, but I kind of get the feeling that's just kind of what I have from the numbers. Like, I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. I will say that TCU's defense's problem has been giving up a lot of assists. Ohio State doesn't really pass the ball. So that is an advantage for TCU. They got David Punch, who's a very good player, protecting the rim. So I could easily see just that being a boon for TCU, but neither team is beating Duke.
Yeah, this is one of those 8-9 matchups that I really don't see.
Yeah, I'm taking Ohio State too, but I really don't have a strong feel on either. Like these two teams, like I don't think I've watched either of them play this year. Like most teams in this tournament, I at least caught some of throughout the season, or especially during the conference tournaments when I really started watching. But both Ohio State and TCU went out of the Big 12 in the Big 10, I believe, probably while I was at work.
Yeah. And I will say, to Ohio State's credit, they took Michigan pretty far in that game. Now, granted, everybody took Michigan to the brink of losses until the final game when they finally did lose, which probably more to talk about with Michigan there when we get to them. But I don't have a strong feeling. I'll lean Ohio State simply because they have Thornton. And it's a 4-year guy. This is his first chance at a NCAA tournament run. So I could see them coming out with a little bit more of an edge. But at the end of the day, your consolation prize is playing Duke. So it doesn't matter.
And I'm not worried about either team beating Duke. It's whether you pick the better team or you pick the matchup. I think the matchup favors TCU, but I think the better team is Ohio State. Kind of a coin flip.
I agree.
We'll move quickly then to a much more interesting game. Number 5 seed,
rock fight.
St. John's versus the 12 seed Northern Iowa. The St. John's, of course, with my number 14 players do the edge of 4, 80th in offense, 25th in defense. They play really fast pace. They get a lot of free throw attempts. They shoot really well inside the arc. They rebound, pass, and
also have
defend
been
really well.
very hot the last month or two.
They've been really hot.
Yeah.
They got a great coach, obviously, in Patino. Northern Iowa, fascinating team. Got to look out for it. Leon Bond III, he transferred from Virginia a couple years ago. All Missouri Valley defensive team. 194th in offensive efficiency, 5th in defensive efficiency is Northern Iowa. They play an incredibly slow pace, which is always good for upsets. The fewer possessions, the more likelihood you're still in the game late. Then the crowd gets into it, and who knows what happens. They don't get to the line at all, but they do pass the ball well, and they shoot pretty well. Yeah.
It'll be a fun rock fight, but I do fear you and I got an unfortunate pull of a wrongful 5 seed in my book. I do not think St. John should have been a 5 seed in this tournament.
In my opinion.
They should have jumped up.
The argument is, and the committee tends to value non-conference a lot, my argument against them being a high seed is they lost to Auburn, who ended up being terrible. I thought they had lost to Baylor. I was wrong. They beat Baylor. I thought I remember us winning the game. I think I'm thinking of the San Diego State game in the Players era. So they at least didn't lose to Baylor, which if you lose to Baylor, I think there's no way I could pick you to win a game in the tournament.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. I think the way they won the Big East tournament should have bumped them up a little bit further.
Yeah, they dominated UConn.
Yeah, they dominate the Big East tournament in general. I think they're on a collision course with Duke, but that is also, to me, contingent on them getting past this game. I feel like I don't see them losing
in the second round. If they're going to
No,
lose, I think it's going to be this one or the Sweet 16 to
I
Duke because
agree.
I don't feel very Northern. I never will completely rule out the Missouri Valley. I think the Missouri Valley, time and time again in the tournament, shows that they are a one of the best mid-major conferences.
Hmm.
I think Drake last year, as I think a 12 seed, did one or maybe 11, whatever seed they were. I think they beat Missouri, I want to say.
Yeah.
Um, and Missouri Valley is always a conference that's good for a few upsets. I mean, Northern Iowa themselves a few many years ago with Ali Farouk Badesh
Hmm.
beating Kansas springs to mind, which that's a possibly on the cards in the second round too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think St. John's has a little too much for Northern Iowa
I
here.
think they do. This is tough for
End of the
Northern
day.
Iowa. I mean, I think the worst seed, your goal if you're a top team should be to get away from being a 5 seed because I think 12 seeds are very good. I think they're typically better
They're
than
usually
11 or
very
10 seeds.
strong mid majors.
That's what they are. And that's scary always especially because I think just because people look at the numbers, like 5 versus 12, and the crowd is going to get behind that 12 seed if they stay in there.
Mhm.
That's where I look at that 5th ranked defense from Northern Iowa. And St. John's offense isn't amazing.
No.
It's not out of this world. If they struggle to score, it's going to be tight.
Yep.
That's just how basketball works. You have to it could be good defense will make it a game, and then it
Yeah.
gets scary because
Yeah.
they don't really have like that shot maker. Like when St. John's went out last year, they had their guys all go for they had guys going like 2 for 15 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't hit it. They couldn't hit a shot. That's what's scary. Like
And
that's
then you
how
bench the best player.
that's how they got knocked out last year. Is they couldn't hit a shot. Now they're facing a top 5 defense in the first round. That is interesting.
It's intriguing, and it'll all be dependent. Like, I think the defenses will both show up. I mean, at the end of the day, that
And
defenses usually do show up in this tournament. It'll be if you and I can hit some shots. If they hit shots with the defense, St. John's is in for a scary matchup.
yeah, and if you look at what Northern Iowa did this year, they had a 5-game stretch in January where they lost 5 in a row. But outside of that, they've been a really solid team all year. A couple real close losses, pretty much for everything.
Mhm.
Other than that, they pretty much the month of January they were awful. But other than that, they've been a very strong team, especially the last few months.
Yeah.
I was very impressed watching them in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, especially that championship game against Illinois Chicago. They were at least making shots in that game. So as I said, I think St. John's is going to win, but
Yeah.
I don't like picking against the Missouri Valley in the first round.
Yep.
Because it feels like that at least once every 2 years they're going to be in that spot to at least win, or at least they're going to make it a tough game. I think.
All right. We'll move now to, I think, a more academic game. We got Kansas versus California Baptist. Kansas.
Basically a home game for Cal Baptist, though.
That's true. Anyway, they got Kansas got Flory Badunga, Darren Peterson, Melvin Council Jr., Bryson Tiller, all guys worth keeping an eye on. Only the 167th ranked offense and 49th ranked defense for Kansas. I don't think they're that great. They don't get extra possessions. They're not a great offensive rebounding team. They don't get steals. Benefit for them is they have good players and they don't foul.
Yeah.
California Baptist, I don't think is a very good team, period. I'd have them ranked similar to what a 16 seed would look like. They do have Dominic Daniels Jr. He's a senior, but he's got some JUCO, so he might have might be in the transfer portal. Who knows? Might have some extra eligibility if he sues. He averages 23 points a game. And anytime you see a guard from these type of schools averaging 23 points per game, you kind of take notice because those are the tournament hero guards kind of framework is guy who chucks a bunch of threes.
Either he's going to go for 40 or he's going to go for 10 and single-handedly shoot them out of the game.
Yes. So that becomes, that's something to look out for. Interestingly, they have a higher ranked defense than Kansas in efficiency. Their offense is horrible. They don't pass the ball, but they also don't allow other teams to pass the ball. Similar to Hawaii, who we'll get to, they don't help a whole lot. The assist rate against them is really low. They do rebound the ball well, but they also foul a lot. So if Darren Peterson's fully healthy, he'll be going to the line a ton. I think Kansas has this, to me, by a decent
15 to 20 points.
I think Kansas has this. However, I will say, using the vibes of the fan base based on the brilliant vibe checker that is Reddit, Kansas fans are worried about this game.
That's just because their team's not good.
Yeah, the fact that Kansas fans are already saying we are not making it past the round of 32, little concerning for them. But yeah, I think Kansas should handle California Baptist. It is being played, I'm pretty sure, I don't know exactly where in California Baptist is, since they're one of the few schools I don't know much about since okay, they're
It's the
from
whack for
Riverside,
you.
which is probably about 2 hours, I think, from California. I might be completely wrong on my California geography there, but 2 hours from San Diego. So they will have probably will travel pretty well and probably have a pretty decent crowd there, but Kansas also always travels well, so
That's one of
my
those, you know what, that'd be awesome is we just see, because we have no clue what California Baptist's fan base is like. They could see 2 hours and be like, no, that's not happening.
Not today.
Maybe they're rabid fan base and they're gonna come in full force here because that could flip this game. Who knows? I think Kansas is probably just too good. They have Badunga's.
I agree.
I don't think they have anyone who could handle Badunga, but I also felt that way about Taylor Dickinson's Zach. So who knows?
Personally speaking, I wish Kansas and St. John's were flipped here to where I could see Kansas get upset by Northern Iowa and then,
Yeah.
St. John's, Northern Iowa is the round of 32. That's just me personally.
And the optics of a
The
Kansas Northern
committee
Iowa
could have had
rematch.
more fun with the seeding. Like, I think Duke Lehigh should have been the first round matchup.
I agree. Yep, absolutely.
When you have Lehigh on the 16 seed and Duke on the 1 line, come on, committee.
Exactly.
But
Yep. Let's go to our 6 versus 11 game, and we'll go to a trendy upset pick: Louisville versus South Florida. Louisville with Ryan Conwell and Mikael Brown Jr. Whiffs is questionable. That is something to keep an eye on. They have the 24th ranked offense, 58th ranked defense. They take a lot of threes. They rebound the ball. They pass the ball well. South Florida, 41st in offense, 64th in defense. They have one of the best players in the country, Isaiah Nelson, as the big man. He'll be transferring to a much bigger school, if I had to guess. I have him as a 20th ranked player in the country at South Florida.
he is a senior.
Maybe I can't read my handwriting. I am as a junior. It might be a senior.
At least Wikipedia says he's a
Look,
senior.
I was
not perfect.
I was scribbling away, so he could very well be a senior. Yeah, they pass the ball well. They get a ton of free throws. They rebound the ball extremely well. Thing is, they rank highly in a ton of stuff. The reason they rank highly, they play a super fast pace. They are up and down. I don't see there's any way this isn't a game. Personally, I have Louisville still beating them. And that is...
It'll all be predicated on if Louisville makes their shots, because there's been a bunch of games this year where Louisville just misses for long periods of games, and then you look up and they're down 15, and it's just too big of a hole to climb. Now, I don't necessarily know if that'll be this game per se, but I do think this is going to be a wildly high-scoring game, very fast-paced. If I'm blanking on the point guard or shooting guard for USF, but if he shoots the way he did in that American Championship game, this is going to be a rather fun matchup, especially from a just straight-up scoring
Talking about Wes
perspective.
Enos.
And
Don't make me lie to you. I was watching so much basketball this week.
Yeah, he's a shot chucker in the best way.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and say I have Louisville winning this game. However, I've got a good friend who is from Louisville, and he is feeling very nervous about this.
They should be.
Should be. This
I
is
agree.
definitely
I agree.
This is a slippery
Also, I've
slope.
heard from some Louisville people that if Pat Kelsey doesn't win this, his seat starts to get hot for next year, which I
Well,
think would be a mistake on Louisville's part. But
it's interesting
you know.
because Louisville leads the country in goofs on their team.
Yes,
There's a lot of them. That includes
they
Pat
have
Kelsey.
And Louisville has not won a tournament game since 2017, which is
Yeah.
crazy for a
That's
team of
crazy
the
for Louisville.
quality. For a program,
they
of the
were one of the worst
quality
teams in
Louisville.
basketball last year.
They're not. I would not say Louisville's a blue blood, but they're like that tier right below the blue
Yeah.
bloods.
I'm
Like,
just
you always kind of expect to be making deep tournament runs, and they have not even made it out of the first round since 2017. They have not made a Sweet 16 since 2015. So
it's weird. I get more nervous for them if Mikael Brown Jr. is healthy and able to play. Even though they've been better with him on the court, I trust Ryan Conwell as being the lead guy and being the best guy on the court because he trusts those veteran guards come tournament time, like Ryan Conwell. I think Mikael Brown could easily come in and shoot them out of the game. And if that happens, if he comes in, goes 2 for 15, which he has done
a lot.
See ya, Louisville.
He's done that more than he's gone 10. He's done that more than he's gone 10 for 15.
South Florida is a trendy upset pick because people, I think, are overrating the American Athletic Conference based on past results.
I think people see
I think
the American Athletic Conference
was a bad conference.
I agree. I think people look at this like, whoa, South Florida. Look at the numbers. Like, I think they're good. I have them as a good team, kind of similar. I have them similarly rated to like an 8 or 9 seed, kind of. It's just I have Louisville better than that. So I think this game will be close. I think this will be a single-digit game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
I agree.
I would also bet on Mikal Brown shooting closer to 2 of 15 than he has his 10 of 15,
yeah.
just because
But I think
we've seen more sample size
I
on the other
agree.
one.
But I think they win if he goes 6 for 15.
They probably will.
I think their cutoff
If he
point really
plays.
is 5 for 15. They feel pretty comfortable in that range. They get real nervous if it's below there. Let's move to our next game. Michigan State 3 seed versus 15 seed North Dakota State. You love seeing a Dakota in the tournament.
Yep.
They're always fun.
Just not against Izzo.
Yeah, Izzo's. Uh-oh.
Not a fun.
It's been very rare that Izzo gets upset. I think there was that one
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee State team that beat them.
Kermit Davis.
Yeah.
Other than that, Michigan State usually goes out to good teams.
Yeah.
Michigan State doesn't go out to.
Here's the thing. You're not going to get out-coached if you're Michigan State. The only way that happens typically when you lose is you get out-talented. That could happen later, but they also have, I think, Jeremy Fears Jr. I have as 15th best player in the country. I have Jackson Kohler as 70th best player. They are good offensive and defensively. Not elite, but good.
Jeremy Fears Jr., winner of this year's Grayson Allen Memorial Award in college basketball. Or good player, but dirty.
He's just, it must be like, I'm thinking it's like a genetic thing or a psychological condition that makes them just do these weird, dirty things that don't help. They really don't help you win games. They're just cheap shots for the sake of cheap shots.
The back kick to the groin against Michigan was truly a remarkable play.
I love that one. That one was fun. The leg kick that way out to trip somebody out of nowhere. Like, it's great stuff. Izzo just
It's been
having
more
to
egregious
constantly
this year. Desmond Bain or Jeremy Fears?
It's Fears is more egregious. Bain has roid rage moments, really. Just spiking balls on people's heads. But
numerous times.
So many times.
The ball on somebody's head is more funny than it is like
the thing is,
truly.
All of Bain's have been really funny.
Exactly.
And just absolutely out of the blue.
I will give North Dakota State credit. I think they're a pretty good team. Trevian Carson's a tough guard that they got. They're good on both sides of the ball. They shoot threes well. They get steals. I just think, I think it might not look as much of a blowout as it will be. I think it'll probably be like the 10 to 20 range point differential. But I could easily see where North Dakota State's never really in this game.
Yeah.
The Summit League is one of the it's not the worst conference, but
not the best.
I mean, last year we saw the Summit League champion Omaha kind of take St. John's, made a game of it at least for a half. And I could see that happening here where North Dakota State's able to keep it close early, but I don't see them having the depth to compete.
And what helps for Michigan State is even if it gets late, is having that point guard and one of the best point guards in the country.
Assuming he doesn't get himself ejected.
Good point. There's North Dakota State's opening. It's just
you gotta target Fears.
I just be needling Fears early in the game.
Try to irritate him to the point where he does something stupid.
Start some walk on in the game and just have him be poking Fears early on.
Yeah, you put that 15th guy on the bench to start the game for the first time in his entire career just to get the ejection. I like the move.
We'll go to our 7 versus 10 game now. UCLA versus UCF. UCLA has come on late in the year behind transfer Donovan Dent, who has been awesome. I have him the 42nd ranked player. Transfer from New Mexico I think he was a 5-star transfer for them. He really struggled early. He's really come on late in the season. Tyler Bilodeau might be hurt as well, though. He's their second best player. Donovan Dent is also nursing a minor injury. They're good offensively. They pass the ball well. They don't turn the ball over. They do not rebound at all. UCF, they suck defensively. They're mediocre offensively. They got some guys who aren't bad. They do their damage inside the arc. This is the game I care the least about.
And hey, they're anchored on that starting 5 by none other than John Bowl, former Ole Miss transfer, who was told to transfer after he told Chris Beard he should have been starting the entire year on that Sweet 16 team. And Chris Beard said, yeah, no. And so he transferred.
UCF also
More importantly, I don't know. I assume this guy doesn't play because, I am not very up to date, but I'm just looking at the roster here. There is a guy on UCF whose name is Poopa. Wear a cool nuke row.
Yeah.
I might have butchered that last
He's from
name.
Thailand. He doesn't play.
Yeah, I figured not, but
they do also have Riley Kugel. Welcome back to March Madness, Riley Kugel. Yeah, that guy he has made the rounds of some mediocre basketball teams. Yeah, I got UCLA winning this, but I also like This is another one like flip a coin. I think UCLA is a lot better than if they're healthy. I think they win this. Their health concerns me enough where I'm like, yeah, UCF's got some dudes. They're not terrible. They played in the Big 12, so
There's a major reason I'm picking against UCF here, and that is they lost to Baylor.
Good reason.
And
it's a good reason.
If you lost to Baylor this year, you are not winning a tournament game.
No,
that's Baylor not in the tournament.
No, shockingly, no.
Shocking. I don't know how that happened, but
I'm sure we'll be in some like the college basketball crown or something.
We won't
that
be in
that
anything.
No
I think we'll decline everything that we're offered.
We should. However, who knows?
It's a little disappointing that you don't get to see Cam Carr and Yesufu in the March Madness.
Yeah, but I believe I'm double checking right now. Yeah, UCF was the only tournament team that Baylor beat this entire season. So,
dang.
Wow, Ole Miss beat more tournament teams than y'all did.
Yeah. Just in the last month.
We were bad. We were not good.
Dude,
at basketball
take the last week of the season.
All right, let's move.
Yeah, so that UCLA to win. UCF lost to Baylor. UCLA will
UCLA wins. I agree. We'll go to our 2 versus 15 game finally in his region. UConn versus Furman. The Paladins. UConn's a good team. Obviously, people know that they've said they played their best basketball in March. That wasn't true in the Big East Championship. But they say, we're an NCAA tournament team because it's Hurley making
and against Marquette the week before the Big
Hurley's
Big East Championship as well.
The nation's best excuse maker, Danny Hurley, on it. Second best behind Mick Cronin. Shout out UCLA again. Yeah, they got Terrace Reed, Alex Caravan, Silas Dimry Jr. and Braille. Yeah, that'll be a fun coach matchup. Yikes. Yeah, they're 54th offensively, 24th defensively. They're good. They got tournament experience. They got Alex Caravan still on this team somehow. I kind of expect a deep run from them. There's no reason they shouldn't. They do well in this. They play tournament-style basketball consistently. That's Danny Hurley's style. I told Brett this the other day. If they blurred out Danny Hurley on the court, UConn would probably be my favorite team. Like if they just blurred him out.
I love the way they play.
Yeah, if I just watched them play basketball, oh man, that'd be great.
And they show Danny Hurley.
Then they cut to Danny Hurley making some face on the sideline.
Or running on the court to scream in the ref's face for no apparent reason.
Furman is fun. Paladins, one of the best nicknames in the tournament. But they also have the Bowser brothers leading their team, Cooper and Cole Bowser. Cooper Bowser dominated in they're the SoCon, right?
Yes, the Southern Conference tournament.
In the SoCon championship. He was like 10 for 10 for a little bit. Offensively, 121st defensively. They're not great. They won't win this game.
But I don't think they're going to win, but I will say this about Furman. At least this was what I was told while watching. This is where I gained some information from watching conference tournaments. Furman was heavily underseeded in the SoCon because they had a lot of injuries they dealt with for much of the season, and they got healthy at the right time.
Yes. They also.
So I think and given what the SoCon typically is, I would usually say the SoCon champions usually on that 12th line more often than not. So they might be a little better than their seed or their numbers are indicating due to the fact that they have not been healthy for much of the season.
I think they are. They also shoot a lot of threes. So, hey, they get hot, then dump it down to Cooper Bowser. This might get a little scare a little bit, but yeah.
I think y'all just gave me my pick for upset. I didn't know that the dude's name was Cooper Bowser.
Cooper Bowser. There you go.
Changes things for me.
He shoots 77% from the floor.
Jeez.
He doesn't miss shots.
I mean, hey,
they're also
the name of the games make more shots than the other team.
Furman's also a horrible free throw shooting team, which does.
That doesn't.
Yeah, that's not what you need for an upset.
It's not what you need for an upset.
Hey, Blind Squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Maybe, yeah. It's one of those times where maybe they just get hot from free throw line. They get to the line a lot. Could happen.
Yeah.
All right, that leads us now.
I mean, here's my question is, are the refs tired of Hurley's whole shtick?
Yes, they are. A thing I've seen recently
because of Hurley being
is
annoying.
Refs just teeing up Hurley early in the game, so he'll have to shut up the rest of the game, which is what I would do. Like, absolutely.
That's exactly what I would
shut
do.
up.
That was my approach back when I did high school, when I refed high school soccer, was if some coach was mouthing off to me, I'd just say I'd just give him a yellow card early and be like, keep talking. We'll see what happens here.
Assert dominance early, refs. That's what we need in this game for an
upset.
I want
referees taking control of these games. That's what we want to see. That's when the sport's at its best. All right, we're going to move now to the first round.
Just ask Adam Silver.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move down to the first round of our upset draft. Brett, the first pick, please.
I'm going to take Northern Iowa here. I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're the best possibility. I don't trust South Florida, and I think Northern Iowa, if they get past the first rounds, go into the Sweet 16 because I think they'll beat Kansas. So I think they have a higher point potential. I don't see South Florida getting to the Sweet 16 if they beat Louisville, and I think those games are closer to get. Like, I don't trust South Florida. I think the Americans just not a good enough conference. So Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Cooper?
That's a fair pick. It's probably out of this side. I don't think this side of the bracket's really built for numerous upsets, at least in the first round.
I did have chalk the entire this regional. For the
yeah, I chalked this entire one.
When I believe I also had chalk for this entire first round in this bracket when I picked it too. So we're all on the same page here.
And I personally, I was going to go to Northern Iowa just because of the defense, because I think defense at this, especially in that first game, is what keeps people in games for an upset. I'm gonna go with UCF, Central Florida, and the only reason I'm going with that is the injury with UCLA. Again, I have chalk for this entire side of the bracket. I'm with y'all. American Conference is horrendous, and I know teams are sitting there rooting for the 3 seed Tulsa to win that whole tournament because it was going to be the easiest game in the tournament.
Tulsa, North Texas.
I didn't see Tulsa play, but I just saw Jaret's reactions in one of our family group chats to watching Tulsa play. And
we were texting back and forth the entire North Texas game.
It did not seem like it was a very positive takeaway from Tulsa.
No, they were horrible.
That was the worst triple overtime game I've ever watched.
Yeah,
those teams are horrible.
It was not as good as the
I fell asleep during
McNeese State UT Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah.
Duly noted. But yeah, I'll take UCF.
You take UCF.
I'm not confident in that pick, but
I'll take South Florida then. They're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have taken.
There's intriguing aspects of each of these upsets, but again, this is not the side of the bracket that I would wager my money on my bracket.
USF feels like that team that's going to be trendy because people just look at those numbers and be like, wow. Fast paced. Everyone loves the fast paced teams. Fast paced teams don't typically pull off upsets.
No, it's slow.
Yeah, slow because slower, fewer possessions, more variability, fewer trials. Stats.
I will say this is, according to this bracket, it has 52% of the people have picked USF.
Wow.
So take that for what you will. Again, I think that is just merely looking at the wrong things.
Yeah,
for this side of the bracket. This is not the side of the bracket that I have upset.
I believe in the last 10 years, the 11th seed has a winning record against the 6th seed.
That is probably true.
Yeah, that's probably true.
The 11 and 6s are the 11 seed is, I believe, the most frequent upset other than 9/8 in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and that doesn't even really count.
Which no one considers that an upset. That's a coin flip game every year.
Yeah.
We'll move now to the next regional. I don't have the region names in front of me.
You tell me, and I'll tell you what side it is.
Is it the South region?
Who's the number one seed?
Which team's the 1 seed?
All right, this is Florida versus Prairie View or Lehigh.
Okay, yeah, it's the South.
Again,
go ahead. Tell us who's going to win.
I wrote it all on paper.
Lehigh or Prairie View?
I got Lehigh in this game. I got them
Lehigh as well,
but I got this as a close one. These are the 2 worst teams in the tournament. I got Lehigh by 2 to 3 points. Is what I got 2.5 point spread on this one for Lehigh.
Yeah.
They got a guy named Hank. He's a sophomore, Hank Galby. He's not bad. Team 15 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists as a sophomore. He'll transfer somewhere else. That's what I'm going off of. So yeah, give me Lehigh.
Just to go get mollywopped by Florida.
Yeah, who's Florida gonna kill?
Yeah, I don't think either of those teams are going to compete against Florida, but yeah, I think Lehigh's going to get Prairie View. Prairie View, quite the run in the SWAC conference tournament, which seemed very impressive when you saw they were an 8 seed, but then you realize they were 9-9 in the conference because that conference was very even. Not good, but even.
Yeah. For note, Lehigh has the 200.
I mean, they did pick up big wins over schools like They did beat the College of Biblical Studies this season, so that's a big win.
It's a big win.
Of their 5 non-conference wins, 1 came against a Division I school. The other 4 all came against schools I have never heard of, including the University of Dallas, the College of Biblical Studies, Champion Christian College, and Paul Quinn College. So yeah, Lehigh.
Yeah.
Won't be picking Lehigh then.
Prairie View.
Yeah, tell the people about Florida and let's move on.
Yeah, let's talk about Florida. Florida's got Thomas Houck, Alex Condon, Ruben Chinyelu, and Boogie Flans, as well as Xavier Lee and Urban Klopsarf. 22nd ranked offense, 38th ranked defense. They've looked awesome in SEC play up until this SEC tournament where they got crushed by Vanderbilt. That was the first,
Yeah.
but they hadn't lost before then. They hadn't lost since I think January 24th.
Yeah, they were on like a 10 or
They
12
were
game
a
win
team
streak
that
or
was
something like that.
it put in like a 4 or 5 seed, and then just blitzed their way back up to a 1 seed through SEC play.
Yeah. And they do have probably the best pound for pound
They have the best
defender.
Yeah, and Chinyelu.
In Chinelu.
They have the best front court. That's not a question in the country. How can Chinyelu start? How is a 6'9", he was a power forward really for them last year, now moved to small forward. It's hard to handle these guys. Connon's really a center for most teams. Chinyelu's humongous. You don't box these guys out. They play really smart basketball. I think Todd Golden's one of the best coaches in the country. They struck gold hiring him. They also got hand locked and off the bench. And the guard play is what's kind of is the question with them. I don't view it. I'm not as concerned about it, I think, as a lot of people are. Xavier Lee's a veteran guard who started playing better as the season went on. Boogie Flans was in the tournament last year with Arkansas. He started playing better as the season went on. They did find something with Klavzar, moving him, and he's, I believe, the SEC Sixth Man of the Year. That lineup where they played Lee with Klavzar was really, really good. I'm not as concerned about the guard play. I think it gets overshadowed by how awesome their front court play is.
Yeah.
Obviously,
this is definitely a team that does not play through their guards.
They have a good guard duo. They unfortunately ran into a team in Vandy who I think has the best guard duo in the country.
My only concern for Florida is they've had a tendency this year to lose some team. Like when you start looking at who they've lost to this year, it's a little concerning just because of their 7 losses, 3 are the teams that are either 8-9 seed range or out of the tournament. Missouri, TCU, and Auburn. Those are 3 pretty mediocre teams, and that makes me a little concerned for them, but that's just looking at what they've done. I think based on last year, looking at what they have this year, I think they have a very good chance to go deep, and I think they got a pretty decent draw. I know Vandy, who beat them, is on their side of the bracket, but
that's tough. They're the best rebounding team in the country. They're very good defensively. They do almost all their damage inside the arc, where they're just dominant. 58% on twos this year. One of the best field goal percentages in the country. They don't shoot the 3 ball.
It helps when you have 3 trees.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Is like that's why I think they'll be fine, especially early rounds. They do their business inside the arc. When they say live by a 3, die by a 3, those teams that jack up a ton of threes don't typically make runs. Being able to just consistently get buckets in these tournament games is what often just matters. They get to the line a ton. They consistently put up points. They will be in games. Yeah, the Vandy game got away from them. Vandy has 2 of the best, toughest guards possible for them to face against. It was,
in the country.
Yeah, and it just didn't go their way. Like, I think if they play again, knowing the way Todd Golden coaches that team, who is screaming at them for only beating Kentucky by 8. Yeah, I don't see Vandy beating them twice, and
no.
So there's not
in a 2-week span.
No, not especially like there's also a number of teams on their bracket that I'm just not worried about at this point.
Yeah, there's the Elite 8. I think is where it gets very tough for them.
Yeah, that's where I have it. I think Vandy is tough. I think Vandy is good enough to make it to the Final Four. We'll get to them though.
Yeah.
We'll move now to the 8-9 game. Speaking of games I'm not excited about, Clemson versus Iowa.
Hey, I feel the same way.
Clemson's got RJ Godfrey
Sturts versus defense.
Iowa's got Bennett Sturts. I got Iowa. I think they're better.
I have Iowa as well.
I've not liked Clemson all year, so I think Iowa is well coached. This is the same coach, I believe, that was at Drake last year that looked great in the tournaments. I think they still... Did Drake lose in the first?
That's why Bennett Sturts is here.
That's why Bennett Sturts.
That's why Bennett Sturts is here. Yeah.
So like Clemson's a quote unquote defensive team. They're 53rd in defensive rating. I really have struggled to see all year how Clemson keeps winning games. Yeah. Because there's no one I look at that's like, oh, that guy's good. They're just fine at everything. And maybe that's
just for Iowa is basically Drake's team from last year. By the way.
That's
they
basically
had
what they
transfers from Drake. Yeah, which
Drake
last year was a solid team.
Yes, they were. And I think Clemson's also got some injuries on their team too. Yeah, I don't like them. Iowa's fun. They play fast. That's not true. They play extremely slow.
It's Bennett Sturts is fun most of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how you call Clemson a defensive team after I watched what AJ DeBanza did to
Exactly.
them
Like that's
very
that's
early
the
in the year,
Clemson game I watched. I watched Clemson go up 20 at half against BYU.
and then
And I
get
watched I
mollywopped.
watched AJ DeBanza walk back to the locker room with this look on his face and went, this game might get interesting, actually. And then I watched Clemson just get demolished single-handedly by DeBanza for the next 20 minutes and end up blowing their lead. As DeBanza scored or assisted on like 37 of the last 41 points for BYU. That's the Clemson I remember, is that they just self-destructed as soon
Isn't
as.
that the game where the center literally bent the rim?
Yeah, they had to stop the game because Kada broke the basket on one of those lobs.
Yeah.
So yeah, Clemson, we've seen them struggle against a singular heliocentric style when it was DeBanza.
That's what this is.
That's what Sturts is. So give me
Yep.
Iowa.
Somehow I just learned that somehow Clemson's coach has been there for 16 years.
Yeah. I mean, he's built a program there.
Good for
Clemson
him.
used to be nothing, and now
Yeah.
they're a consistent
Yeah,
tournament
they're at
team.
least decent. I mean, they make the tournament most
Yeah.
years. Like,
Yeah, I give them credit
but
for
yeah,
that.
Iowa.
Yeah.
But Iowa.
Next, we got 5-seed Vanderbilt versus 12-seed McNeese. McNeese still has pretty much the Will Wade boys cooking down there. Earned a 12 seed. They got Larry Johnson, solid player. Vandy's got, who I have the 5th and 36th best players in the country, and Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles, respectively. Duke Miles, who 2 years ago was at High Point, who we'll get to later.
Well, yeah, we will.
I got Vandy as a really good team. They have the 14th ranked offense and 145th defense, but their guard defense is stellar. Tanner and Miles force a lot of turnovers. That's what Vandy's defense is predicated on. They force turnovers, 41st in steals, 34th in blocks. They don't rebound particularly well. I'm not crazy about their bigs, but, they run a really efficient offense. They don't turn the ball over. They shoot the ball well. They don't take a ton of threes, but the ones they do, they shoot them well. They get to the free throw line really well, and they are 79.5% from the free throw line this year, that's terrific. That's 4th in the country. I expect big things from them. I think they could push Florida again if they get there.
Yeah. I also don't see another game where Tyler Tanner plays as bad as he did in that Arkansas game.
I will say
they were in that game in spite of him.
Well, I've seen his played that game before this year. It was also against Arkansas. Darius Acuff has killed him every time he's played him.
Yeah.
Which is why I laughed when I had Tyler Tanner ranked ahead of him on the SEC players rankings.
You did that. You gave him a
it's
little
not correct.
Just
McNeese, to their credit, is 46th in offensive efficiency, 21st in defensive. They have a lot of good players. It's a well-recruited team. Some really talented guys on there. 3 of them were former top 100 recruits.
I will say this about McNeese. So I watched both their conference semi and a large portion of their conference final. Their conference semi was a great game against UT Rio Grande Valley, went to triple overtime. That game they almost lost because they shot below 50% from the line in that game. Which that gives me a lot of pause for this.
They are typically a good free throw shooting team. They get to the line well, and they are 74.5%, which is pretty solid.
That game, though, they did not shoot the ball off from the line. That put them in trouble. But then the next game out, I was like, oh, this team's not that good. Then I watched them the next game out go up against, I think, a Stephen F. Austin team that I think's pretty good, and they just ran them off the court. So
they are running gun.
To me, that kind of gave me the vibe of a team that if they're on, they can compete with anybody, but also they're not on every game.
They're 2nd in the country in steals. They get 10.5 steals per game. They're going to get on they're going to force turnovers, get on the fast break and run. That's what they want to do. Their enemy is solid basketball. That is what Vandy does.
Yep.
So I think McNeese could have upset a lot of teams. McNeese also doesn't turn the ball over. To their credit, they only average 9.6 turnovers a game. That's really good. They also foul a ton. They foul like it's going out of style. So they're going to be super aggressive with good athletes. So they could compete athletically with Vandy. Got a feeling Vandy's just by being solid.
Vandy's going to take care of business.
I think they'll take care of business. We saw McNeese also last year go against Gonzaga, and we saw what solid basketball did to them last year. They got crushed by just...
Yeah, I think Vandy's going to win this. I don't think McNeese quite has it this year.
I give them credit for the program that
I could see this game being close.
Built. Oh, sorry, that was last year. They beat Clemson last year.
Yeah, and then they played Gonzaga.
It was 2 years. No, it was 2 years ago. They played Gonzaga and they lost by a lot. Last year they actually were fairly solid. They lost to Purdue last year, who plays solid basketball. So having guards that can take care of the ball is kind of the enemy of McNeese. I think it'll be a game because they are good. They've shown they can take care of business in March as well and compete. Though I think we're starting to see with Will Wade no longer there, them starting to slide back a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll move now to a trendy team that has picked to be upset. Nebraska takes on Troy. Nebraska's got.
There is nerves around here in Omaha.
They should.
I don't think with
There
this
shouldn't
one.
be. However, the history of Nebraska ball works against Nebraska.
I think Nebraska's good. They got Bryce Sanford, Sam Hoiberg, Braden Frager, all good players. Rink Moss as well in the middle. They're a good team. They shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes. Troy, I don't think Troy's very good. They got Thomas Dowd, good player, but Troy, other than that, doesn't really do a whole lot. So I think Nebraska should take care of business in this one.
My first comment on this game is I am pretty confident that my workplace will not be getting a lot of work done on Thursday afternoon. Because they decided to schedule a Nebraska game in the middle of our workday, and 98% of the people at my workplace are Nebraska fans or Nebraska grads. So it's
Troy.
But
nothing gets done during March Madness at the workday, anyways.
You're not wrong. There's a reason I like having an office job. But I think Nebraska should win this game easily.
Yeah.
If Troy keeps it close, I think Troy wins, because that's where Nebraska runs into the past traumas and gets tight. Because
I can see
that fan base is so nervous going into that game that they're gonna travel well. Like that, Oklahoma City for that game is going to be 90% red, I would guess, with Nebraska red. Nebraska travels better than almost any fan base in the country for sports. I mean, they sold out their football stadium for a freaking volleyball match. Their volleyball team's been good. They sell it. They have broken the attendance record at every single school in volleyball that they play, because they travel that well, because the sport they're good at. And this is by far the best basketball team they've had possibly ever.
I'll say Nebraska's good on both sides of the ball. They don't rebound the ball that well. That does worry me a little bit with Troy, with Thomas Dowd. Troy is fairly solid on both sides of the ball. So I could see it staying somewhat close. I don't know if Troy has the shot makers to take advantage of it against a good Nebraska defense, which I think it's understated because people just kind of look at who's coaching them and what their team looks like. That they're not the most athletic team. Just say that.
Say it with your chest.
You know what I'm saying. They are a good defensive team. But
it's a bunch of lunch.
Sam Hoiberg is one of the best. He is. Cooper, I don't know if you've watched Nebraska play, but Sam Hoiberg is the most Cooper Neal player I've ever seen play basketball.
I know.
So,
look, I have this game is a shoe-in. This is chalk it up. I know there's past traumas with Nebraska, but at the end of the day, Troy is not that good. And Nebraska the entire year has been one of those teams that is kind of like, they're going to eventually not be good anymore. And they just keep finding ways to win. So I'm just going to keep riding with the team that's found ways to win the entire year in a really good conference.
Yes, but
I've sent Jared a image for.
Well,
Nebraska,
we'll go ahead and show what was sent for the Nebraska team.
There it is.
That's what they are.
Thank you. That is what they are.
So so I think they're good. I think Vandy beats them. But I think
they don't make it.
I think they get through Troy. We'll go now. This is a tough one. North Carolina sans Caleb Wilson. They still got Henry Visar versus VCU. We've got to keep an eye on Nick Lewis, freshman, that's played really well for them. I think probably just a transfer portal guy, but
all these small schools. This is like the feeding ground for fighting who's going to be good.
That's college basketball for you now. Yeah. I think VCU wins this. I think the Caleb Wilson injury is scary. That just takes.
I also have VCU as a team that should be more on the 9-10 line than on the 11 line.
Yeah, I agree. I think VCU's pretty good. I think
I was very impressed with how they pretty much just rolled through the A-10 tournament.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I think Dayton is a solid team, and that game got a little tight towards the end because VCU kind of struggled to make free throws and was fouling a lot. Like the rest basically were, but the last 8 minutes of that game took about 2 hours. There were about 1 million free throws being taken. That game got a little tighter than it had for most of the game. But
they're also deep. They have a lot of guys. Lazar Djokovic is probably their best player. Terrence Hill, Adrian Tracy, different Brandon Jennings. They all kind of do stuff. They all play well as a team. They're good on both sides of the ball. There's a lot to like about VCU, and just historically VCU's they do well. They do well this time of year. So Yeah, and they also they get to the free throw line a ton. They average 25 free throw attempts a game. They block a lot of shots. They don't turn the ball over. Things that just chalk up to this is a good tournament team. Good
Yeah,
one, a good
I
full
think that
lineup of
North
1 through 5.
Carolina.
Yeah,
I think North Carolina losing Caleb Wilson just kills them. Like,
it just
I think North Carolina's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Wilson was one of not their best player, obviously, and that
he was. I had him as
it's
third
hard
best
to
player in the
overcome that,
country.
especially when the player hurts himself dunking in practice. That's just a brutal way
That
for
sucks.
to have that happen.
They still got Vsar, but I just don't. The other guys now having to fill another role where Vsar was, your number 2 option. Can he go to a number 1? Yeah, he can. And now Seth Trimble is sliding into a number 2 role, but that's just now. Like, I understand you can replace Caleb Wilson, but you've weakened yourself tremendously doing so.
Yeah, you lost a guy that was averaging a consistent 20 and 10.
I would argue they kind of turned into what last year's North Carolina team was, which last year's North Carolina team wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Got beat by Ole Miss in the first round.
Can't be a good team then.
We were a Sweet 16 team. So John Padula had his first game ball already in the NBA with the Clippers.
Cool. Yeah, you beat Iowa State, who Iowa State is the annual disappointing team of the tournament. I will pick them every year, but they will disappoint me.
Darn right we will.
We'll get to that later. But
I had Ole Miss going to the Sweet 16 the whole time. I was never worried. I had Ole Miss losing first round to North Carolina.
Yeah, same. I refuse to be
we'll go now to our 3 versus 14 game. We got Illinois and the Fighting Illini. Speaking of teams that are deep 1 through 7, there's a Keaton Wagler who is nursing something of an injury, and David Merkovich. They take on Penn, Ivy League champions, behind the heroic performance of Ivy League Larry Bird, TJ Power.
Beautiful game.
Don't forget about Ivy League Steve Nash.
No. Is that the dude that got
it was number 0 for them. The announcers kept comparing him to Steve Nash for no apparent reason. There was nothing Steve Nash about him.
Yeah. Penn is interesting. I mean, they got Fran McCaffrey coaching them.
Illinois gets to pull back out the Fran McCaffrey stages of anger chart.
Yeah. That's great. So yeah, like I liked Penn watching them. They're still also missing one of their best players. Like that was what was happening. Why TJ Power, somewhat out of nowhere, was having to put up 44 points. I'll give them this credit. They have a 5-star recruit playing for them in TJ Power. That's what he was. He went to Duke. He didn't play. So he transferred to Virginia. He didn't play. And so he went to Penn. And we've seen what happened. And he's a junior now. Sorry if I sound like a broken record. He'll be transferring to a bigger school, basketball school. Excuse me. But yeah, I think Illinois is
not going to beat not many schools going to beat Penn on the academic side.
No, that's like, well, you said you wanted him at Ole Miss. I'm like, he's not going to Ole Miss. I'm sorry.
He ain't going to Ole Miss.
He'll be going to like a Duke or a Virginia type.
He's not a Chris Beard guy. No. He is not a Chris Beard guy. I watched him play defense. It ain't there.
I think the most important player on Penn this is not maybe from an on-court player, although he is going to be their main big. Augustus Gerhardt.
Yeah.
With maybe the most Ivy League name of all time.
You got a guy named Augustus.
I found his LinkedIn profile the other day. He did have an internship at Wells Fargo lined up. So
he's doing well.
Tell he's all about that Ivy League life. He said he went to Penn for the academics.
Now, I will say Ivy League is always something to look for in an upset. Illinois is not one of the teams, though, I've had as like an upset possibility.
Yeah, I think Illinois is going to win this.
I think Illinois should win this. Yeah, they're good. They're a really good team. Cooper, anything?
Illinois is going to win this game. I don't have much to say outside of that. Power's not backing up a 44 piece with another one versus this team, so it's just not happening.
Yeah, we'll move.
Unless Stojakovic plays like
Stojakovic is,
he could be detrimental.
Could be, but again, like you're dealing with Wagler, Merkovich, Stojakovic, the Avicic brothers, Boswell. There's 6 guys that are
that's too much.
Starting quality players. That's where, like, when we talk about, like, a lot of those teams that make deep tournament runs, we think of, like, the 5 guys that they had out there. Like, when we talk about an NC State team that made a run, they wasn't just DJ Burns. They had their other guys that, like, were...
the guy next to DJ Burns was just as impactful, and then the guard play was... Yeah. I'm blanking on the dude's name.
Of course, now we said that you can remember their lineups. I remember them, what they look like. I now can't remember a single name.
Yeah.
I have kind of 2 views on teams that get hot, like, that NC State team in the conference tournament, which is either the teams that get hot in the conference tournament, which I think St. John's is one of the teams I'm kind of thinking of, or Arkansas in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Either they're going to go deep or they're going to get knocked out early.
Like
they don't They're the teams that are dangerous if they make it to the second weekend, but often go out
Yeah.
first weekend.
Another one would be like Florida Atlantic when they made the run. They had Vlad Golden and Janelle Davis and a bunch of other guys. But yeah, deep team that can do inside, outside, whatever you need, making a run in the tournament. Illinois is one of those teams that kind of does it all. So keep an eye on them. We'll go now.
And they have a lottery pick too.
They got a lottery pick. And that's what changed their season is Keaton Wagler taking that leap to being a superstar, because he was not that when the season began. He was not projected to be anything like that. And he's got better and better and better. Now he's going to be top 10 pick. Looks like a future All-NBA player. That changes everything for them. We'll move now to our 7 versus 10 game. St. Mary's versus Texas A&M. We got Bucky Ball at Texas A&M. Bucky McMillan moving from Samford over to the Aggies. Yeah. Brett, did Samford ever beat anybody in the tournament?
I believe they did not.
It felt like they were always a trendy upset pick, and it because they were the super fast.
They only made it once under him. I believe they only made it once. I remember they were a trendy upset pick. I'm looking to see the result right now. They played Kansas. They almost beat Kansas.
That's right. They scared Kansas. The problem with this specific Texas A&M Bucky McMillan team, he does not have his guys in. And I know we say that as a cliche a lot, but these are not good players.
This isn't a good team.
Rashawn Agey's pretty good, but they went and picked up Pop Isaacs, who is a guy who I've been looking at for years, saying this guy sucks. Why do big teams keep going and getting him? And he's just a chucker.
It's known as Memphis Tigers syndrome.
It is.
I forget who the guy. I'm blanking on the name. There was the guy who was at Memphis multiple times recently.
Musa Cisse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Musa Cisse syndrome.
Now,
I know him well.
St. Mary's is another one of those teams, though, that is the consistent disappointment of the tournament that goes and doesn't take care of business.
They almost always win in the first round, I feel like.
I feel like
they lose in the second round every time.
48th in offense, 18th in defense. Very good team. Consistently. It's a great program that St. Mary's runs. Paulius Morauskas, Joshua Dent, Dylan Shaw, all good players worth looking at.
Yeah, Randy Bennett has been there for
forever. Yeah, they play consistently solid basketball. But they shoot 80% from the free throw line as a team. They're the best free throw shooting team in the country. And again, like just as we put it, like with them, it's Lithuanians and Australians typically, but like it's a good team. I think St. Mary should win this game.
It's a good team. They should.
What's crazy to me is I'm just real quick looking at it. St. Mary, excluding 1959, well, since Randy Bennett in 2005, like they're always a tournament team. They usually win in the first round. They have made it to the Sweet 16 once.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, spoiler, I don't have them making the Sweet 16 this year either.
Yeah, I have going out in their traditional second round.
Yeah, because next game is Houston versus Idaho. Houston, Kingston Foamies, Chris Sinak, and a whole bunch of other guys. Houston will win this game. But shout out.
I feel bad for Idaho because I think Idaho is better than their record and I think is actually a decent team based on what I saw in the Big Sky tournament. However, Houston demolishes lesser teams. Like they just do.
You have to match Houston's level of play. Most can't do it. They don't take games off. They don't take plays off. I'll give Idaho this. They have my favorite player in the entire tournament. And Brody Rowberry.
One of my favorites too.
He is like 6'11", looks about 260. Not muscle though.
He's listed at 255 by the way.
255.
So you're not far off.
Thinning blonde hair, also with a receding hairline, big beard. And when I watched him, he played 24 minutes. He had 2 points and 4 fouls.
He was way better in the conference.
He was
finals.
better in the conference.
Actually, I think he had like 15 and 10 in the conference final.
Oh, he's magnificent. Yeah, he's going to get murdered.
He reminds me
a
lot of that guy we saw at Vermont who, when he's playing outside, he shoots threes, which he was better than the guy at Vermont. He was at least hitting rim and made one or two of them.
In fairness to Gus Yalden,
but his main game is under the basket, grabbing rebounds and dirty stuff.
This guy, he's gets to run into JoJo Tugler and Chris Sinak. That's going to be fun. Especially if he might bully Chris Sinak. Who knows? But Houston's going to win this game. Sorry.
By a lot. Houston by a lot.
That leads us to our next round of our underdog drafts. This is a snake draft, by the way.
Yeah, I was about to say your pick.
Yeah, my pick. Let's see.
Take the easy one off the board.
Yeah, I'll take VCU.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win that game, so I'll take them.
I also think they're going to win that game. And the only other upset I have on this thing is technically Iowa. So I'm a snag Iowa.
Fair.
And just force Brett into a corner here with.
Yeah, there's not a lot of options. I'm not taking A&M because I don't think A&M's beating
also
St.
don't wanna
Mary's, and
take
there's
A&M.
not enough points there.
Like,
And if they beat St. Mary's, there is zero chance they beat Houston.
Yeah.
So I'm again going to take a team that I think could make the Sweet 16 if they win their first game, which is McNeese, because I don't trust Nebraska in the NCAA tournament because they have never in their entire history proven to be trusted in the NCAA tournament. Actually, I'm going to take Troy. I will take Troy.
All right.
I'll take Troy. I think Nebraska's good. I think Nebraska should make it to at least second round, if not the Sweet 16. I don't see them beating Florida, but I gotta go with the history of Nebraska in the NCAA tournament, which is a history of sadness and depression.
I love hedging your bets here.
Yes.
That's what I like to see.
Yes.
Yeah, people at work will be very angry if this occurs. So I'd be disappointed. I don't want Nebraska to lose, but
You moving to Arizona side
I
now?
am going to Arizona side now. Arizona, Braden Berries, Jaden Bradley, Modius Kribas, Koa Pete, and Ivan Karchenkov take on Long Island.
Woo!
Heck yeah, Long Island. They got Jamal Fuller. I wrote that name down. I don't remember anything about him after I wrote that name down. Yeah, Arizona's going to win this game.
My main takeaway was they had one of the worst graphics of all time in their conference tournament, and it made me very happy. That was the only thing that really occurred with Long Island that I know about them. I watched their conference semi, which was for the auto bid against Wagner. Not particularly impressed.
Okay, Jamal Lele Fuller. He is a senior, but like with question marks on that because he's been in college for 6 years now. With a bunch of JUCO and non-majors in like D2 time.
I'll get one more year.
Yeah, he'll get one more year.
He'll be at Memphis
he averaged
next year.
16, 5, and 2. He was a 50, 40, 70 guy. So yeah, Long Island. No, Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona, though a consistently disappointing tournament team, this is the best team I think
This
they've
is their
had.
year, I feel like.
Kind of feels like their year. Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if they're not at least in the Elite Eight.
I would be shocked if they're not in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
It should be noted, though, they have a PTSD opponent on their side of the bracket, which we'll get to. Because Wisconsin has been their thorn in multiple tournaments.
The fortunate thing for them is I don't think they'll see
getting there.
I don't think they'll see Wisconsin.
Wisconsin ain't getting there.
It's fair.
Yeah. We can move past Long Island.
Yeah.
But I think we just
Villanova, Utah State.
Let's go to Villanova, Utah
Sharks
State.
is a good nickname. They got really good colors, but that's about all I can say about them.
And they play in the YMCA, it looks like. So
it did. I did watch that game. Yes, it did appear to be a YMCA.
all right.
I discovered they used to play in like a theater that still had like all the theater box seats and stuff around the court and looked awesome. And I don't know why they moved out of that.
They might not have had a choice. The theater people might have said we want our theater back, and they probably were like,
there was also some kind of dangerous like pillars right by the baseline for players to run into. So for safety reasons, probably wasn't the best idea. But
Villanova,
it looked really cool.
Villanova, Utah State. Villanova's got Duke Brennan and Caden Lewis. They've also been devastated with injuries and players leaving the team. They said the guy Hodge just tore his ACL. Against Utah State, Mason Falslev, MJ Collins, who are one of the best guard duos in the
they're
outside of the Power Five. I think Utah State's a really good team.
I think Utah State's good.
I think Utah State's good. I think the Mountain West is another conference that tends to get a little bit underrated.
I agree.
Although they do kind of tend to disappoint in March Madness after that one San Diego State run a few years ago. But I don't think this is a very good Villanova team. I don't think Villanova's been the same team since Jay Wright left.
Agreed.
They've struggled to find that again.
If there's one thing,
that's just where, like, we spoke about Shire earlier and how good a job he's done of replacing Coach K. Look no further than Villanova for an example of how that can go wrong, replacing an all-time great coach. So I think I got to go Utah State here.
Yeah, I got to go Utah State.
I also go Utah State.
I'm going to try to get my camera back in focus.
It'll come.
It'll come eventually.
Yeah.
I think Utah State's really good across the board. They do everything well. They don't rebound the ball well. That's the one thing I can knock them on. But other than that, I think they're good. I think they can actually push Arizona, which seems crazy, but I think Arizona is a tournament disappointer, and Utah State's a really good team that could come to play them. So I'd look at
typically
that
that's what happens with Arizona is when they get to a team that plays really good basketball. That's usually where Arizona struggles. But
This Arizona team feels different.
Yeah, it does.
I agree.
It feels like they can't lose that down the stretch.
Yeah, like they lost those 2 straight games to Kansas and Texas Tech. But other than that, they've been pretty much unstoppable all season.
Yeah. And like Iowa State went up big on them, and then they just needled away and kept going. And they have a closer in Jaden Bradley. They're good bigs, good guards. That's tough to deal with. Let's go to, there's my camera. Let's go now to the game I'm looking forward to. 5 seed Wisconsin versus 12 seed, my guys, High Point. I think
You wanna put the picture back up?
High Point's not it. Oh, for Wisconsin?
Not yeah, for Wisconsin.
This is more for Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I do like. The issue for Wisconsin is that Nolan Winter is coming back, maybe for this game. He's been out. That's their big man. That's their biggest advantage over High Point. High Point's not big. Well, High Point's doesn't have a like big.
Yeah.
I think they start 3 forwards, or at least the guard that's kind of like a forward. They got good positional size. High Point is really solid team. They do everything really well. They kind of check all the boxes. Everyone, they're starting lineup is a good player. Rob Martin is a really good point guard. He's really decisive, makes quick decisions. They don't turn the ball over. They turn other teams over. They shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
Give me High Point in this game. And this is just when I ran the numbers on who's a better team on all of these, I have High Point being a better team than Wisconsin. And I think Wisconsin's a good team.
I think Wisconsin's a good team, but I do think they're running into a tough matchup here with High Point.
I just don't feel the same about High Point. Like I saw a little bit of their Big South tournament. I thought they were decent, but I don't think the Big South's a very strong conference.
How dare you?
I know. Sorry.
Winthrop and High Point made our Twitter.
Yes.
I know they did. I know they
Shout
were
out
really
to my High Point
complimentary on
fans out
Twitter.
there.
I know the High Point fans were really complimentary on Twitter, and I get that. However, I got to pick Wisconsin here. I don't.
Ooh, heard it.
I really have been impressed. I mean, this is where me not watching as much P5 basketball probably hurts me. My main 2 exposures to Wisconsin were their 2 games against Michigan that they won.
Yeah, they looked great in those.
Or the one they won and then the one they barely lost. In both games, they looked awesome.
Wisconsin's a team that shoots the 3 really well. They take a lot of them. They live and die by the 3.
Exactly. And I could easily see High Point winning this, but I think Wisconsin's going to
give High Point this. High Point has the 3rd ranked offense, the 19th ranked defense. There's only a couple teams in this tournament that are top 20 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They do everything pretty much fairly well. At worst, they do it okay. They defend the 3 really well. Teams only shoot 31.5% from 3 against them. I think, come down to it, they also are a team that takes 27 free throw attempts per game. They could, especially with Wisconsin, who's been playing without Nolan Winter, their big man. I think that's scary. If anytime a guy's coming back for the tournament that's missed a couple games, that can throw off a rhythm.
True.
And especially for a team that takes a lot of threes, anything about their rhythm being thrown off would worry me.
I don't disagree.
So I'm taking High Point in this game. I think they're excellent. They also had a guy Cameron Fletcher miss a decent amount of time. He's back and healthy since the tournament. I think, maybe I wish they would have drawn a different 5 seed, but
I agree with that point of view because I think Wisconsin's pretty strong. I think the 5 line is pretty strong this year with Wisconsin, Vandy, St. John's. And, Texas Tech is the 5 seed. I think you wanted to draw just with topping out.
I would have preferred Texas Tech in this matchup for High Point. I think Wisconsin's the next best option. I think they win it.
I got Wisconsin, but I could easily see this going the other way.
Let's go now to our next game. Arkansas, the SEC champions, but who cares about that tournament? With Darius Acuff, Trevon Brazile, Malik Thomas, and Billy Richmond, they take on Hawaii. It's got Quandre Bullock. And Hawaii with the most interesting defense in this tournament. The fun thing with Hawaii is they have one of the best defenses in the country. The reason they do that is they don't switch. They don't help. They do switch. They do not play help defense. If you have to beat them one-on-one, we're not going to help. So teams can't pass the ball against them.
I'm a little scared about the draw they got.
Yeah, I don't love that defensive philosophy against Acuff, though it is going to take away some
Darius Acuff is very good.
So do they have a guy who can guard him one-on-one? But they are, it is a drop coverage. Like their big man is going to float back and protect the rim. That's the one thing, the help they do. So when Malik Ewan's in there for Arkansas, I kind of like Hawaii to play well in this game. Give me Arkansas to win this, though.
I think Arkansas wins. I could easily, though, I think Hawaii, again, there's a couple conferences I always feel like are conferences that I feel pretty good about come postseason. The Big West is one that always gives a tough game to whoever they play, and they're usually on that 12, 13, 14 line. Last year we saw UC San Diego almost take Michigan to the wire, and
Yeah.
that was the worst
That's
possible
worst
draw for
matchup
them.
for
They got really unlucky.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Hawaii could easily make a real game out of this. They
I mean, Hawaii's also
had a
shown this year that they're well coached. And if there's ever a coach that has shown the propensity to get out coached, it's John Calipari.
yes.
So if he's
Ole Miss versus Arkansas.
if he's faced
SEC
with a weird
tournament.
defense, he might not figure it out. So,
He probably won't. Darius Acuff will have to figure it out on his own.
you know,
Yes.
like we'll see. Because we saw against Oakland's a couple years ago, watched Calipari just get straight up out coached by
Yeah.
Oakland's. So yeah, I
I don't think it'll happen this
I don't
round.
If
think
but
this game
it-
comes
it'll
down to
happen.
talent, it will be Arkansas by a lot. If it comes down to coaching, I'll take Hawaii.
Yeah.
But I think Arkansas's got too much talent.
I don't think Hawaii's that talented, period. I think they're worth though keeping an eye on because they do something weird. And any team that does
Yeah.
something weird is worth noticing if the other team figures it out how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's
I
makes
think
them
just
interesting.
truly based on the fact that Darius Acuff is as good as he is with the ball in his hands, I just think that leads to a whole lot of issues when you don't help or do anything.
Yeah, I
If they
think
sent a
that's-
bunch of double teams at him, I would be more inclined to be like, Hawaii is going to make this interesting. But one-on-one basketball
Yeah, I think
versus
their defensive style is interesting. I think it's just Acuff is probably the worst possible matchup for that defensive style.
Yeah. I think so. I think
because, I mean, he's moved his way up into like
I
being
think Nebraska is who
potentially
they
a
would have
top three
hoped
pick.
to have drawn. Nebraska
I
is
think-
that team that moves the ball really well and very much take what the defense gives you. Don't beat people one-on-one. Arkansas does beat people one-on-one. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll go to our 6 versus game. BYU will play the winners of Texas and NC State. Texas, Dalen Swain, Matas Vokatitis. NC State coached by the lovely Will Wade with Quadir Copeland and Villain Lubin and Paul McNeil Jr., Matt Abel. I think NC State.
The rare early tournament regular season rematch,
Yeah.
NC State versus Texas, because the first four, the committee does not have to avoid rematches.
What was the result of that game? Out of curiosity.
Texas won by 5 in the Maui Invitational.
Cool. I got NC State winning this one.
Texas
agree.
stinks.
Yeah, Texas stinks.
They lost to Ole Miss. That's
think-
all I know.
NC State, I don't think should have been in the first four, but they did pretty well this year.
Yeah.
I think they're a good team.
Texas fell apart down the stretch too.
Yeah, they really did, and they just seem one-dimensional every time they play. Texas, second in the nation behind Louisville and Goofs with Vokatitis and Shindal Weaver. Yeah, I take NC State. I actually take NC State to beat BYU.
Ooh.
Maybe this is a scalding take, but I think BYU without Richie Saunders is pedestrian. They just lost a serious option. That to me gives. I think I have it really close, but I think NC State takes that one as well.
Fair.
I got BYU. I think DeBansa, I think him and Bouger are the two best players in the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much question about that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And I don't see DeBansa letting his team go down in the first round.
I don't think he will, but they also got to consider Rob Wright.
I knew that's what this is based on.
Letting
I knew
them down.
Jared's affiliation towards Rob Wright was going to be the issue.
But the issue is Rob Wright going to go up against, like, NC State's big and long. They have a 6'6", 6'7" point guard, Quadir Copeland. I'm just listening to Jaret Cooper. Nothing more. So, like, I think they also have the bodies to match up pretty well with DeBansa to at least make it tough for him. If he'll get his, I would, if I were a betting man, I'd put money on him scoring at least 30 in this game.
I would also go that
So,
route.
but I think NC State just has. I don't like betting on a single team player in the tournament.
Fair.
I think BYU has enough outside of DeBansa to win this game.
I don't think
All those teams around the first four, those final at larges, I just have zero faith in, personally.
Um,
NC State, I think, is the strongest of the teams in the first four, but I still think Texas is going to be the team that gets it done here.
Yeah.
Or, I think NC State's going to get it done, but I think BYU beats NC State.
and I think, regardless, I think the result of the NC State BYU has tremendous impact on the Sweet 16 because next game is Gonzaga versus Kennesaw State. I think Gonzaga's great. I don't think
Yeah.
I think Devanza would kill them though, but I think they would kill NC State.
Yeah.
So
Gonzaga
yes.
does not. So to go to the first round game here, Gonzaga does not lose in the NCAA tournament to inferior teams.
No, they don't. And that's
But they lose to superior athletes, which is Devanza.
Yes, they play super solid,
Yes.
super technical basketball that beats anybody that's not as good as them for sure. It will beat also some teams better that are more athletic than them. It can. It's when eventually a team it's when those really good teams they play against that it starts to become questionable where they just lack the upper tier talent. I think Graham Ike has been one of the best players in the country this year. He should be an All-American. Braden Huff is coming back.
Gonzaga's gone. Last year was the first time since 2014 that Gonzaga went out on the first weekend of the tournament.
Yeah.
And they ran into Houston in the second
in
round.
a close game. So
yeah, in a close game.
If Braden Huff comes back, he's apparently not going to come back for the first weekend, but should be back for the second, is what I saw. They have a real dynamic duo in their front court that could make things tough on anybody, and they could really make a serious run in the tournament. That goes for any team. That includes Arizona because of how they play the game. Arizona is a team
100%.
that focuses on capitalizing on mistakes and forcing mistakes. Gonzaga's a team that just doesn't make them.
They don't make none.
They're not going to beat themselves. I still don't know how they lost to Portland, but
I think about the Portland game, that's the best thing that could have happened to this Gonzaga team. Gonzaga every year is going to lose some game at some point. I don't want this Gonzaga team's not talented enough to have come into the tournament with like 2 losses and dealt with the expectations of that. Losing the Portland game lets them fly a little bit more under the radar. It wakes them up that they still have to deliver to get back to like, here's Mark Few Gonzaga basketball and just take care of business in these types of games, which makes me more confident than ever that Kennesaw State and Franquan Sherman will
Are going to get murdered.
Yeah, I don't feel good for Kennesaw State. I think you don't want to run into Gonzaga on the first round. Gonzaga has not lost a first round game in a very long time. Like it's very impressive what Mark Few has turned them into. The last time Gonzaga went out in the first round was the Memphis Tigers were playing for the national championship. The last time Gonzaga went out in the first round,
22 years ago,
2008.
I was overshooting. Feels longer.
I thought it was
still not that far off. I don't know why I thought it was. I'm trying to see who they lost to. They were a 7 seed and they lost to 10 seed Davidson, who made an Elite 8 run with Steph Curry on their team.
The last person who beat them in the first round was Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, yes. The one who's going to be the all-time leading best three-point shooter in NBA history, not his brother who is a decent role player.
Yeah, he's not that anymore.
Gonzaga has not, and Kennesaw State does not have Steph Curry on their Steph Curry or any player who I think is nearly as good as Steph Curry on their roster.
Yeah, they're not very good.
So yeah, I think Gonzaga wins easily.
Our next game, 7 seed Miami takes on 10 seed Missouri. This is interesting. I don't hate Missouri as a team. I'm not confident in them. I like Mark Mitchell. I think Miami's kind of flown under the radar and been sneaky good. They were the 3 seed in the ACC tournament. They competed well. Trey Donaldson, Malik Reneau, Shelton Henson, good players on this team. I like Miami to win this.
Yep. I like Miami to win as well.
I got Miami as well. I think the SEC is, as a whole, I think is pretty down from what they were last year. I think they got too many teams in last year as was, but I think this year especially, I think the SEC had Florida still really good, but the SEC just isn't nearly as strong as they were last year. And I think some of those bottom teams like Missouri got in based on what last year's SEC was. I'd say the same kind of for how I feel about Georgia. They're tournament teams, but they're not great tournament teams.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll go quickly to Purdue, Queens. Yeah, so Purdue's going to win this game.
They should, but
and
never
Braden Smith will be the new
Purdue's ability to choke early in the tournament.
I agree. And Oscar Club did not know where Queens was when he was asked about it. But I actually like Purdue to make a really deep tournament run. I think
I do too.
Watching them, especially in the Big Ten championship game, really showed that what the team they've become looks like is where Oscar Clough was dangerous in that game, bullying Mara and Morris Johnson to where like now that becomes Clough and Kaufman run in the middle with Braden Smith outside, Lawyer as well, whatever. But also like now if he's bullying Mara, that becomes interesting for Arizona matchup later in the Elite Eight. That's for the game where I see like that's tough. I think Purdue's a team that could beat them. And
the one thing I can guarantee from this Queens game is the fact that Braden Smith will be the new
Oh yeah,
holder
Braden
for
Smith will break the record
assists.
for career assists in that game.
He'll probably do it within the first 2 minutes.
I'm very disappointed that Purdue did not end up on the 3 line.
Really?
And that is for the sole reason of the only infinity stone of lower seeds that Purdue has not lost to is the 14 seed.
The only infinity stone.
Yeah.
They legitimately have lost to, since Painter took over, they have lost to a 12 seed in the first round, a 13 seed in the first round, a 15 seed in the Sweet 16 somehow. And obviously they lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. They're the only one left for them to lose to is a 14 seed. I think Purdue's going to win this pretty easily, but I never 100% trust Purdue under Matt Painter in the tournament because they have had a bad history of just inexplicable losses.
I agree, but I'd also point out that he did take him to the national championship 2 years ago.
Yes.
I agree. I think, and I don't think Queens is the kind of, but then Queens is the kind of team I didn't watching them in the ASUN tournament. They had a couple decent players. What concerns me a lot about Queens was against Central Arkansas, they were up 12, looked in complete control in the ASUN title game, and Central Arkansas went to a press. Queens did not appear to have any ability to deal with full court pressure at all.
Yeah.
And almost lost that game. I think they ended up winning they ended up winning in overtime. I just don't see Queens winning it. Then again, Purdue, I would have never picked Fairleigh Dickinson to beat Purdue in a million years. There was no indicators going into that game that was even going to be close.
Yeah.
So unless something like that happens again where Queens just plays super solid ball and keeps it close, and Purdue plays well below what they should be. And I also think Purdue's guard play is a million times better than what it was then, because I think that was Purdue's big weakness that cost them that game is they did not have good guard play.
All right.
And I think Purdue's guard play now is much better.
Absolutely. I think Braden Smith's one of the best point guards in the country. Your pick now, Brett, for the third round of the upset draft. Yeah.
Just because I know if I don't, y'all will take him, and I think they're still a really good pick. I'm taking High Point.
Dang.
I didn't even believe in High Point, but he's going to take
I
High
don't
Point
believe
when he
in him,
literally
but I don't
was
want
talking
you
up all
to
the
have
other
him. Boo.
No, I think they're. I would pick in that game. I'm 60-40 for Wisconsin. So like 40% is definitely the best I feel about a higher seed in that region.
High Point hater.
That was I believe in 3 other teams to upset, but they believe in High Point.
Y'all
so
are going to take my
favorite
favorite lower seed in the next regions.
Cooper, your pick.
I'm kind of getting the short end of the stick here and getting the second fiddle wave of upset teams. So I'm just gonna keep going the 9 seeds. So I'm gonna take Utah State.
Yeah, okay.
I'll at least get points.
Yeah, that's almost a game. I think that's a very strong pick.
I'll take.
I do have High
State.
Point going to the Sweet 16 though.
I'll take NC State because I haven't beaten BYU, which I think is the most vulnerable of the higher seeds.
Other games.
Yeah.
Plus, they can get you points in that first 4 games.
Yes, they can.
So.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they could also just
Our next bracket, we got Michigan taking on the winners of UMBC and Howard. I think Howard got boned
should not
here.
be having to play that.
Howard should have been a 15 seed. They should not have been in a play-in. They're a good team, but, MEAC and all that. I think Howard will win that game, which I hesitate to say at the worry of provoking UMBC Twitter. It doesn't.
I got UMBC in that game. I'm probably picking more based on what they did to Virginia many years ago, but I also watched them in the America East title game, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
they had
guy
a
was
guard
launching
just
shots.
dropping.
I think it was Ace Valentine, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I believe so. He was hitting. I think he hit 3 or 4 step back threes down the stretch, just contested tough shots.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of guy who can swing a game, especially if it's tight. And that was how UMBC beat Virginia. Is they had a couple guys who just shot Virginia out of the gym.
Yeah.
Do I think that's going to happen again?
No.
Michigan's
regardless. Michigan has Yaxel Lindenberg, Morris Johnson, Ada Amara, and Trey McKinney. They're missing LJ Kason. That injury, I think, has affected them. That won't affect them against UMBC.
Yeah, that one. Who is it? Cadeau? Isn't that
Elliot
their
Cadeau.
other guard? Yeah. This team's loaded. I mean, they're awesome. I know they lost. I know that they just lost, and so that's gonna be fresh on people's mind. They're awesome.
I will say this about Michigan, and this is my one fear with Michigan. To me, in a lot of ways, they're the most vulnerable 1 seed. I think at the start of the season, I would have said they were going to be my national title pick no matter what going into the tournament. Watching what they did to Gonzaga, they were the best team in the country for the first 2 months, in my opinion. I'm concerned they're running out of gas. They looked just tired in the Big Ten tournament.
My concern with Michigan is they lack a shot maker. It's like down the stretch they get tight. As good as Lindenborg is, he's not a guy that's just go get whatever shot he wants and then make it. Like they're good, they get inside, but it's very much like bully ball, just try to throw up layups and stuff like that. If they're struggling, get tight, they could be in trouble, similar to what happened in this Wisconsin game. So I do think there is some fear. But they only lost to Wisconsin when Wisconsin shot lights out, and to Duke.
And the Purdue.
Ends at Purdue now. So it's hard to be too concerned about them.
Yeah, I got concerned with their whole Big Ten tournament performance throughout it. Ohio State was tight, Wisconsin was tight, and they finally lost to Purdue. I think Michigan's a really, really good team. I am just concerned that they're a team that the way they play such a fast, hard style of physical style of basketball, that I'm concerned that they're starting to run out of gas.
Could be.
We'll go to
Lindeborg was limping pretty heavily at the end of that Big Ten title game too.
Yeah. We'll go to Georgia versus SLU now, 8-9 matchup.
Robbie Avila.
I actually technically the numbers have Georgia barely over St. Louis in this game, but
who cares?
It's Robbie Avila. Sometimes you just got to look at like who's the March Madness legend in the making here, and that's Robbie.
Magic the Gathering Johnson.
Yeah, Milk Chamberlain.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Dork Nowitzki,
Larry Nerd.
The guy's great. I'm like,
Georgia does have one of the best offenses.
Georgia puts up a lot of points. Will SLU keep up? I don't know. St. Louis has a great coach who's building a great program there, who they've managed to retain, sign an extension. So that's great for them. Their well-coached team plays really good team basketball. I could see them making a run. I could see Georgia winning this game too.
I got SLU. I will say SLU struggled, though, down the stretch of the season.
Yeah, they did, which is what ultimately...
They got demolished. They randomly, in their last regular season game, got run off the court by George Mason.
Yeah. I think I technically have Georgia. That's who I filled in my bracket. I want to believe in SLU.
Robbie Avila finally is in the tournament. He should have been in the tournament 2 years ago.
I just want Robbie Avila is going to be the next Cameron Krutwig and just run through the tournament, be a tournament legend.
Yeah,
that's what should happen.
Very much so.
Yeah,
that's what we hope.
That's what we hope.
It'll be more fun for
go St. Louis. We'll go now to I think another interesting game. Texas Tech, the 5 seed against 12 seed Akron. Texas Tech going to be without JT Toppin for their remainder of the season, who is the second best player in the country. Christian Anderson is also, I believe, has a muscle strain. He'll be playing, but he is going to be playing through injury. For that reason, I have Akron, who I do think is a very good team. Akron's a really good team. Does High Point and Akron have his 2 best 12 seeds out there?
Yeah.
Just really solid basketball. Akron lost 1 game in the MAC this year. They lost to Miami of Ohio in the first game of the MAC season by 3 points at Miami of Ohio. Other than that, they blew out pretty much everyone else. They're a really good team. They play really good basketball. Tamari Johnson's a very good player. I don't know if Texas Tech, especially, I don't know how Christian Anderson's feeling right now. He has to be special for them to win this game. So if he's not 100%, I think Akron wins this one. If he is,
I feel pretty good about Akron. I watched them in that MAC title game, and Toledo played lights out against them and still came up short. Akron made a just clutch shot after clutch shot down the stretch, and what impressed me the most about them was they just did not get phased. They were in a situation where, Emily, they probably had a little bit of a home court advantage. MAC tournaments always played in Cleveland, which that's basically Akron's a suburb of Cleveland. But they were down, I think, 8-9 at the half and just kept playing their style the entire second half and just got back in the game. I think the MAC is one of the more underrated conferences in the country. I think they're probably not quite as good as like a West Coast, Missouri Valley type conference, but there's a reason they have 2 teams in the tournament. I mean, you argue what you want about Miami's predictive metrics, but I think Akron's a really good team, and I think Texas Tech has too many injuries, and that's why I've got Akron.
I feel bad for Texas Tech because I think they're a team I looked at.
Texas Tech was a really good team.
I think I thought they were going to make a run. It's just tough without JT Toppin, and a lot of responsibility fell on Christian Anderson, and he delivered. But now we're seeing him start to break down because of that. Where I think Akron's great. Like High Point, they kind of have a professional feel to them as like a mid-major team of like 5 guys, really solid, play their brand of basketball, don't get phased. Yeah, I like Akron in this game
too.
And I think Akron actually could make the Sweet 16. after this news for this next game
Yeah, I saw that.
that Aiden Holloway has been removed from campus for Alabama.
I got arrested for. Here, I had the charges pulled up.
Felony
A
drug
first
charge.
degree possession of marijuana. This is the important part. Not for personal use, which is a Class C felony, and failure to affix a tax stamp, also a felony. I don't know how to failure to fix a tax stamp is a felony, but don't mess with the U.S. Postal Service, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Don't
gotta
think
think
that
somebody
affects
on another
Alabama.
team called in the tip because the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force apparently searched his residence near the house. That's not what you want to have happen
Yeah,
right
I'm
before the
glad
tournament.
that's on here now because
Yeah,
I had
definitely
Bama
not.
still just a bit ahead of Akron. That's going to change things.
Good team all year, so hopefully this doesn't affect Alabama too much.
Against Hofstra, 4 seed versus 13 seed. This seems more cut and dry. Before now, we have the news that Aiden Hollowell has been removed from campus on felony drug charges. Now it feels like Akron very well Sweet 16 run. We got, Bama still has LeBaron Fillon, Amari Allen, Aiden Sherrill. Hofstra's not a bad team though. Fairly decent. I think they could contend. Also, it's a Nate Oates team. They're going to jack a bunch of threes. They're a live by the three, die by the three team. They start missing shots. This will be an upset.
Correct.
So
I
still got Bama, but keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I would keep an eye on it, and I always want to see Nate Oates lose. I don't like the guy running a great program over there at Alabama, as this is the second major scandal involving a scar player, as I was telling Cooper when you were cut out. Obviously, the Brandon Miller murder investigation a few seasons ago.
He runs a tight ship.
Yeah, runs a tight ship over there at Bama. It'll be
Roll Tide.
as he said
Roll
after
Tide.
Brandon Miller was implicated in a murder. I'm sure Aiden Holloway was in the wrong place at the wrong time, just like Brandon Miller. So we'll see. I think Bama probably still gets by Hofstra, but I do feel very good about Akron, who is kind of my I always like to have kind of one lower seed. I like to go to the Sweet 16 every year. Last year it was UC San Diego, which almost worked. And then this year I kind of feel that way about Akron. They're the 12 seed I really like. They're kind of my high point.
So, Jaret, now you know what to do with your first pick since he took our high points.
I know it's going to happen. So
yeah,
we're going to leave you with nothing but a 15 and 16 seed.
Speaking of the MAC, we have 6 seed Tennessee playing the winners of 11 seeds, Miami of Ohio and SMU.
So Tennessee versus SMU.
I'm glad Miami of Ohio is here.
Yes.
They deserve to be here. They won the games they needed to win. This is about right.
They're not going to have a fun time with SMU.
They're not a very good team. And anytime I've watched, their offense is really efficient, and that's why they consistently won games.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is bad.
Their defense sucks. It's bad.
That's
anyone in the
why
country
they didn't blow anybody out, is because they couldn't make stops to blow teams out.
Yeah. And it's really a soft defense. SMU has a really, really good offense. I don't see how, and they're good bigs. They get some really, really good guards. Boopy Miller and BJ Edwards are really good guards.
Yeah.
I think SMU is a very good team. I had them highly. They just didn't really, it's one of those things, I liked the team. I thought they were good, yet they didn't really win games. But I still think this is beyond what Miami of Ohio is capable of competing against.
Yes.
Which is my feeling. I think SMU wins this game.
I think SMU wins it pretty easily.
I think Tennessee wins ultimately out of them, but not by a lot. I think SMU could beat them. I think there's no way Miami of Ohio can beat Tennessee. That's my feeling on them. But, they do, I think, have a chip on their shoulder, but they did lose at a certain point where it felt like they were just going to make excuses about how they should be in the tournament regardless, rather than focusing on just winning the MAC tournament. That's kind of how it felt going into the late. The amount of complaining their coach did. I don't like the guy.
Stand-up guy, really a stand-up guy.
Yeah, just knocking over DJs, mic sets, and stuff like that because he's angry. His team's losing to Western Michigan.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I'm not a fan of Miami's coach. I think Miami deserves to be here. I still don't really know how to feel about them. I think I kind of like how the committee did it, which is the committee basically came out and said yesterday that they weren't the last team into the tournament, but they are the lowest seeded at large team.
Yes.
Which is basically saying resume wise, they were in pretty easily.
I liked how they did the seeding, which they straight up said, we first decided who most deserved to be here, and then we seeded them based on how good we thought they were.
Which I think is the proper way to do it, because Miami deserves to be in the tournament, but all the predictive metrics say they are not going to fare well in the tournament.
Yeah. And this is honestly high if you're where they should be as far as predictive metrics.
Yeah, they're probably at least on the 12 line, if not lower.
Yeah, they're loud. Yeah, I mean, fair enough to them. They went 31-1, right? They deserve to be here. Now reality's going to strike. What did they look like against a real team? Because they didn't play one all year. Like Akron's the only team they beat. And if they had a rematch with Akron at Akron, I don't think that would have gone well.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I was kind of hoping they would end up playing Akron in the MAC tournament. Unfortunately, they decided not to make it that far.
Yeah. We're just gonna lose to UMass
But
instead.
I think watching Akron play and watching Miami of Ohio play, I thought Akron looked like a much better team from what I saw than what I've seen.
I agree.
And I've probably watched more Miami of Ohio than any other team this year, because they were definitely the most entertaining team in basketball this season.
As much as I'm rooting for them to win games, to shut Bruce Pearl up, don't really think they will.
I don't. Yeah.
Next game is Virginia versus Wright State.
We didn't talk about Tennessee at all, by the way.
Tennessee's good.
Yeah,
they're not
fine.
great. They're good, not
Tennessee
great.
will probably beat SMU.
Yeah, it's a Rick Barnes team though, so they won't make a super
They'll
run.
get to the next round.
Yeah.
Well, it's Rick Barnes. They might just lose to SMU.
That's true.
So we got Virginia versus Wright State. I've liked Virginia. I think they play really solid basketball. I don't think they have anything elite about them, but they play good basketball. I don't think they'll be upset. I don't hate Wright State, but I don't. Yeah. Give me Virginia.
I think Virginia's going to win this one.
This is one of those Tony Bennett Virginia teams that, if they don't score, look out.
Ryan Odom plays a very different style.
Yeah. They put up points. They have guys who can easily score or get buckets. Taster Ritter is one of my favorite guys to watch.
Yeah, the rare Belgian.
Chance Mallory as a 5'10" freshman. Dude is tough as nails. And the two really good shot blockers. Though one will be in at any time between Ugana Onyenso and Johan Grunlow. So, I
like Grunlow.
One of those teams, they got a lot of guys, so look out for them.
Yeah.
And Ryan Odom is a good coach.
He's a good coach, and he's really rebuilt that program. All right, next game.
Virginia knows all about him being a good coach.
Yeah, yes, they do. Next, 7 seed Kentucky takes on 10 seed Santa Clara. Yeah, Kentucky has been devastated this year with injuries. I will give them that credit. They're not very good.
No,
but even Dick Vitale's going after you and saying you guys suck, basically on air. It's not good. They got Otega Owe's a good player. Malachi Moreno's nursing an injury. He'll be playing. I think Santa Clara is a really, really solid team. I think they'll win this game. Alan Graves is a really good player. I think Santa Clara kind of got screwed a little bit with the seeding. Fortunate for them, they got a pretty good matchup for them. Because Santa Clara, they were easy. Like WCC is now a 3-bid conference. It can be. They wouldn't beat St. Mary's in the WCC tournament.
This year only.
Well, yeah, that's true. So they wouldn't beat St. Mary's in the WCC tournament, and then they competed against Gonzaga in that championship game.
Yeah.
They're a good team. They built a good program. So I like Santa Clara.
I like Santa Clara too.
And then our final first-round matchup. Oh, our favorites, Iowa State take on, Brett, your guys, Tennessee State.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee State blew me away in the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game. I will say that. Do I think they're going to win here? No. However, Tennessee State, this is the one thing to watch for Tennessee State. This is one of my early takes. Also, one of their players, Jalen Petre, apparently is now playing college basketball.
There you go.
But they had, I've got to see if I can find their two guys' names because I got to look at the box score. But they played Morehead State, who was a pretty solid team, like as far as the Ohio Valley Conference goes. Like, not great, but they shot them out of the gym in the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game. And if they shoot like that in the NCAA tournament, they can beat anybody.
Yeah.
And that's
yes. The issue for them is that they're going to be playing Iowa State, who I think is the best perimeter defense in the country.
Yeah.
I will say this about Iowa State. This is one of the craziest stats in college basketball is the fact that Iowa State has not been to the Elite Eight since the year 2000.
That's crazy.
Because they have been good to very good almost every year, it seems like.
I think
Yeah.
that's going to change this year. I think they got
I
a pretty
agree.
solid path. Virginia's the only one I see kind of resisting them.
Yeah.
Though Santa Clara would not be an easy second round matchup. But yeah, that top half's
I have them in
looking
the Final Four.
pretty thin. I've considered them for the Final Four. I still had Michigan in the Final Four. But yeah, Joshua Jefferson is a beast. Taman Lipsey is the perfect guard. Like the quote in the locker room that they've hung up from Lipsey is we don't, take collisions, we initiate them.
That's what you
Like
want to hear.
that's from your point guard.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
And
very
Killian.
much the
Lipsy
mentality of
also
that
the rare
team.
4-year guy from Ames, Iowa. So that's kind of just
Yeah,
cool to see.
and he's cool. I like him a lot. I hope he ends up in the NBA. Um, Milan Momcilovic is the best shooter in the country.
That guy has Grizzlies second round pick vibes.
Yeah. Killian Torre, freshman French guard, also super tough. This guy that almost got into it because he was diving on the floor up 20 in the game.
Heck yeah.
Like you love.
I mean,
I love
what you
this
want.
team. Iowa State's one of my favorites. I love Otzelberger and the way he coaches. Yeah, the tournament success hasn't been there. This is a pretty solid though bracket for them.
Chance. Yeah.
They should. This should be good for them. Lipsey's always nursing an injury because Lipsey's always colliding with guys, so I'm not that worried about that.
Yeah. It turns out the statement that we initiate collisions does make you a little more injury prone.
Yeah. Like so it's just that's how it is. I'm not worried about him playing through anything. So yeah. All right. And so let's finally do our final round of this. I'll take the obvious pick. I'll take Akron.
Yeah. Figured you were going there.
We now have a path toward a 12 seed can make the Sweet 16 pretty reasonably.
Yeah.
So I'll do that.
Yeah. I'm actually going to take Santa Clara because I do not believe one bit about Kentucky. And if they get past Kentucky, I do think it'll be a fun game between them and Iowa State. So I'll take the chance. Again, I think I lost out on the team I wanted every single round. So perks of picking in the middle, but I'll take Santa Clara here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all took both the teams I wanted, so
I'll
take
one
St.
still on the
Louis
board.
only
There you go.
because I think Robbie Avila could have a Krautwig-esque run.
This could be a Loyola Chicago situation. Like, do we know of any nuns that are working with the team?
They are a Catholic university.
Yeah. So you never know.
They are Jesuit. You never know with that. Admittedly, we did look into the history of their mascot. It is really dumb.
Stupid. Yeah, their mascot's stupid.
Yeah. It's based on a picture of a coach who looks nothing like the mascot, and it was a charm doll from the 1900s.
Yeah,
it was pretty bad.
All right, now I don't feel very good about your pick now, but
yeah,
but I got Robbie Avila, and I think Robbie Avila can turn into this year's tournament darling. That's literally the only reason I got him. Also, there's a little bit of me that feels like Michigan is fading, and I don't know why. Like, because as I said earlier this year, they would have been my title pick going into this, and there's just part of me that feels like they are fading right now, and I'll
say also though on that front that another team that looked like they were fading was Baylor in 2021.
That is true, but I also
sometimes it's that team that gets that second win.
Baylor is a lot stronger than my knowledge of this year's Michigan team.
There's a lot of teams that in the Thomas tournament they don't look as great, but they're getting what's happening is they end up getting their second win come the full tournament.
And that Baylor team, I will say that was, as you know, we were coming off COVID at that point, so that's a little bit of a difference. But yeah, I do agree with that. There has been teams that you got to be careful not to read too much into conference tournaments because you also are playing teams that are playing for have way more on the line than what you're playing for, especially when you're a top seed.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, outside of Florida last year too, like typically teams that go on to win the SEC tournament don't actually fare very well in the actual
like conference champions don't often win it all. I feel like a team that ends up dropping one, they get their game out of the way and then they just time to roll.
Here's my other issue with Michigan. The Big Ten has disappointed in tournament after tournament for a very long time.
Except for football.
Yeah. Well, they're now the dominant conference in football. Like, when was the last Big Ten national title in basketball?
No, Purdue got there, but they didn't win.
Michigan hasn't won it. I think it's Michigan State in maybe 2000.
I thought Michigan won with Trey Burke.
No, they lost to Louisville.
You're right.
Yeah, they lost.
Michigan's made it a few times and they've made a couple title games. Like Purdue made it, Michigan made it, Michigan State's made it, I think, but they've not won a title. Wisconsin lost, I think, Kentucky in the title game.
Yeah, I remember that one.
They've made it multiple times, but yeah, Frank the Tank, what a player!
further ado, then, who do we have in our as our?
I think my championship game was between Duke, Arizona, and I have Duke winning it.
I too have Duke winning it. I have them beating Purdue though. I think
We're all
Purdue
on the
makes it
same
run.
page because I had Duke winning it. But
Great, Duke's losing
So
first
Duke's-
round.
so Duke's
I
definitely
thought I was
losing to
so
see-
original when like a week ago I just like started thinking about like I just got the feeling like Duke's winning it all this year.
this just feels like a Duke team that's going to win it all. Like
Yeah.
Duke,
And then I ran the and then I
there's
did the
these
numbers
Duke
for it. And I was
teams,
like, Duke is the best.
I didn't
team.
get this
Shoot.
feeling like when they were so hyped up last year with Flag or with Zion a couple of years back. I just had the feeling they were going to disappoint, and I don't have that feeling about this Duke team. I just feel like it's the Duke team that's the prototypical Duke team, which is super talented players, but super talented players who know how to play the game the right way. And those are the Duke teams that win the tournament. Like,
And I also think Shire's going to get one. And I think
he will before too long. I have them beating Houston in the Final Four. I think that's the game that I have them most likely to lose is Houston in the Final Four because I have Arizona in the title game against them, and I could easily see Arizona winning it all.
Yes, I could. Because Arizona's a team I've doubted all year long, and they've consistently proven me wrong. So
I originally had Michigan, but I'm kind of changed in that. I'm thinking I'm probably going to change it to Iowa State the more I think about it. I just kind of have a feeling on Michigan, like as I was saying, that I think they're running out of gas, and I just can't shake that feeling. I also maybe could take Virginia in that region. That region, I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to go with, but
yeah, I feel that.
That's the one I'm kind of.
I also want to shout out Gonzaga as a team I think could make a run. That just to me, I don't like their guards that much though.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's the strongest
could make it run.
Is my only issue with them. I still think they're going to be solid.
Florida is a team I still think will be there because I think they're that well coached and I think they're that difficult to deal with in the front court. They'll still be there. No one produces better big lugs than Florida right now.
I get that.
Maybe ever.
We also might get to see a new NCAA tournament record in their first round game. Assuming they can take care of business, we might get to see Olivier Roux out on floor becoming the tallest player in the history of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Why do it at the end of the game? Just start the game with Howe at point guard.
Why don't you just start him, go win your tip-off, and then
sub him out.
And then sub him out.
No, but imagine a starting lineup.
7-9 guy in the tip.
Yeah. Just Xavier and Lee.
Pretty sure
Thomas
they win
Howe.
every tip anyway.
Yeah, Chinalu wins every tip.
Chinalu's like 6'11" with like a 7'8" wingspan or something.
Huge. He's huge.
I don't want to pick against Florida, but Houston, Kelvin Sampson, I hate picking against because Kelvin Sampson is, in my honest opinion, Kelvin Sampson's the best coach in college basketball right now.
I don't disagree, but I also think it's really funny to pick against Kelvin Sampson.
I agree.
I still think the funniest thing that's happened to Turner was him missing a belt loop. And if anytime he turned around, you could see
he does not appear to be somebody who is great at dressing himself. Great coach. And that's one, speaking of basketball powers that have fallen off the face of the earth, Indiana.
Yeah.
Really wish that Kelvin Sampson hadn't made that one illegal phone call that led to them firing him.
Yep.
What could have been.
It could have been.
Brett, appreciate having you. You have more insight on the mid-majors than I could have ever had coming into this. So we're grateful that you came along, went through this first round matchup. Obviously, may the best man win. I'm still a little disappointed about the Oscars turnout, but it is what it is. You know, you win some, you lose some. But as always, until next time, peace.
Peace.